Hey guys, Katie here, and today's video is all about when a title blocks your vision. It is part of this month's Creative Design Team Sketchbook collaboration featuring one of our least popular sketchbooks. So let's take a look at why I don't like it.
As most of you know, this month's collab with the Creative Design Team is featuring our Volume 3 sketchbook. Now, this is 12 by 12 layouts, but we designed it where you could use 6 by 6 pattern papers. And then we heard a lot of people say that they didn't have 6 by 6 pattern paper. So we are attempting to show you, do not be limited by the fact that this uses 6 by 6 pattern papers. We are going to show you how you can use 12 by 12. You easily could do 8.5 by 11, 6 by 8, any kind of pattern paper or cardstock that you can cut down to the measurements in the scrapbook, you can definitely use. So I have pulled out the sketch on page 19. I'm also going to show you how you can adapt sketches from our sketchbook. So you can see here we've got a lot of stars going on, but I am going to actually use hearts, and I am going to go ahead and scrapbook some pictures from, I need to look at the date, but I want to say that these are from 4 years ago, and we were eating at one of our favorite restaurants. It's called Freddy's. Now, I think it's like Freddy's custards, Freddy's burgers and something, but we just call it Freddy's. And it has the best simple hamburger there is, and the fries are out of this world. So I've pulled these, and then I've also pulled this stamp set. This is one of my favorites from last year's celebration. Now, we're not doing celebration anymore. Stampin' Up! Has gone straight to the Stampin' rewards. And so you actually earn, all the time. You don't have to wait till January to submit an order and then earn freebies. You can earn as you shop. But this one is one of my favorite ones. It's called Friendly Seagulls. But you see here, it's got these cute little fries right there. There's even this bird, the seagull with with fries in his mouth. And then we've got some sentiments that I may use. And then, of course, I'm probably going to bring out an alphabet die cut and some other things. So I'm going to go ahead and clear off my desk, pull those pattern papers and get them cut to size. And we'll be back and I can get started. As far as the paper I'm going to be using, I am going to use the Love Story Scrapbooking Workshop. Now, this is different from just the paper and the sticker sheet. It usually comes with, or it always comes with, some exclusive pattern paper. This particular kit has 2 patterns, and you get 2 of each. Now, the back side is blank. This mimics the embossing folder that we have, but I always love purchasing this. Not necessarily to put the layouts together, but because of the components that come with the kit, I can use on different things. So you've got the same DSP. This isn't a full pack, but you've got the same patterns that can be purchased in the DSP package. And then you've got some cardstock that you'll need, again, to make the pre-designed layouts in the kit. But I always like to have that coordinating cardstock as well. Now, it also comes with the sticker sheet and die cuts. For this particular one, I'm really interested in this oversized heart. If you'll remember, our sketch has an oversized star. So I'm just going to swap out all these stars for the hearts because of our love of Freddy's. Now, you can do that any shape, anything. That's another way to kind of customize our sketches. So I am looking at this large heart. And then I also like that because Freddy's colors are red and white, this kit is really going to work for my photos. You never want to make a stretch. You know, you may want to use a paper packet and you may want to scrapbook these pictures, but you never want to stretch it so much that it doesn't make sense. But in my mind, this makes sense. So we have those, and then of course the sticker sheet is just like the stickers that you can purchase with the DSP. So I'm going to do that. Now I am going to be using the Endless Love die cuts for those smaller hearts. So we've got several heart shapes you can see here. This larger heart might be a little bit too big, but we'll just have to see if I can get 9 across there. If not, I can always adjust my sketch to account for those. And then it comes with the stamp set, but I don't think I'm going to need it right now. I may pull in other stamped images just to kind of help the story along. I am going to do love. Again, it's work smarter, not harder. And even though I have a lot of people that I love in my life, I don't think I'm going to need this whole kit to document my husband and I's little Valentine date or the stuff. Oh, I think that might have been a mistake. Looks like I got 2 die cuts. Interesting. But anyways, I don't need a whole kit to document that. And you know, each year they come up with different Valentine themed kits. So it's not like I need to stock up on this. But we've got that. We've got some other hearts. I think I'm going to pull the rest of this as needed. I just know that I really, really wanted that larger heart. I'm not going to pull in any pinks. I'm not going to pull in the flamingo, the bubble bath, none of that. And then, of course, we'll have our sticker sheet. I'm really liking this, but again, I don't know about the bubble bath on the outside. Another thing I'm going to pull in is I'm going to pull in some of the mixed up patterns. And I'm thinking yellow. So what the mixed up patterns is it just allows you to mix these colors and patterns with the current offering from Stampin' Up. So you can see, you can't really see in this one, but these colors match, you know, either lovely blossoms, just other collections. You can see the back, but I'm mainly looking for the yellow. Even though I love the Secret Sea, I don't think I'm going to pull that in because we have so much black. And then, of course, you know, his little swoosh, all of that stuff. So I think I'm just going to right now pull those 2 yellows and we'll see how that goes. Again, I can always pull this back out once I start creating. I'm going to make a couple of changes to the base, the layout base. So I am matting an 11.5 by 11.5 piece of white cardstock onto some Poppy Parade cardstock. So I'm just going to cut 1/2 inch from each side. This is one of my favorite things to do, not only because it just gives you a pop of color on your base, but these little 1/2 inch strips are what I use to make my little ribbon guides. So that's really convenient. I leave them up here at the top of my craft table, and anytime I get a new ribbon, then I make me a ribbon guide using those scraps. You can find that video linked below if you haven't already seen it. And then we have our Poppy Parade. Now, I gut my cardstock. If you are a subscriber, then you've seen this done a million times, but I'm just going to show all you newbies. So because the majority of this is going to be hidden by that white cardstock, we are able to kind of gut it out. Now I'm going to do an inch gut on this, which means I'm going to line my left side on the 1 inch mark. Now I always cut upside down. So here is my arm extender. If you have your arm at the top, then it's the same concept. You're just going to line your paper up to 1 inch. Start your blade at the inch mark and then cut up to 11. And then you just rotate your paper 90 degrees and then 11 to 1 inch. Rotate it again, line it up at the 1 inch, cut from 1 inch to 11. And then once you do that 4th rotation, then you will have your gutted piece of cardstock. And this you can either use on the same layout for mats, or you can just save it in your colored cardstock bin for totally different projects. I've pre-cut almost everything, and now I'm going to work on cutting my title. And so I am going to be using the a la mode alphabet, which is pretty thin, and so I'm going to back it with some adhesive sheets. Now these are Stampin' Up. These are 6 by 12, which makes it convenient. And it's got little lines on it. Now I could just cut a strip right here, but I like to have those cross lines. It makes it easier. So I've already cut 2-inch strips of black cardstock. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut 2-inch strips across the backing, the adhesive backing lines. So you see that I still have this to peel apart. So I'm going to cut 2 of those. And then I'm going to take one of these strips. Now because this is the 8.5 by 11 cardstock from Stampin' Up, it is black on both sides. It doesn't have the lighter side. So I'm going to peel that one little section away. These 2 sections still have the backing, and I'm going to put it down onto my project. Again, because this is the same color on both sides, it's not really mattering which side I put it on. And then you just peel away the next section, adhere it down, and then peel away the next section. Now I like these Stampin' Up! Adhesive sheets because they are 12 inches long, which makes it convenient if you're working with larger strips of paper. Kind of defeats the purpose if I'm cutting against those. But I have found that they just don't peel as nicely as the ones that I'm used to using, which if you follow me here, you've seen those over and over again. And so the next one I'm going to do, I'm just going to work myself down because I'm not sure how much space this is going to use. So I think I'm only going to peel this next section. And then we've got the a la mode alphabet. I'm also using this one because the word love that we are using the die cuts from that scrapbooking kit, it's really large. So I kind of want to have that topography feel to this title. And by using different size fonts, different kinds of fonts, it's going to give it that interest. So I'm just going to use my mini die cut machine, and we're going to spell We and Freddy's. Okay, we're going to go ahead and build our base. And anytime I have a gutted piece of paper, I want to put my adhesive on the gutted piece of cardstock, and that way I'm sure that adhesive's not going to get in the open space. Now this is Poppy Parade, and I am using the true color of Poppy Parade, not the back side. So the back side is much lighter. It's kind of got a pinker tone to it. And I'm just going to line this up just by using whatever measurement I'm closest to. And because this is cut down to an 11.5 by 11.5, my border is going to be 1/4 of an inch. So you can either eyeball that. I have my glass board down because I might do some mixed media here in just a second. So we've got that one done, and then I'm going to go ahead and just do the other one to get it over with. Another reason is a lot of times I like to build my layout bases first and then come back in with embellishments and photos. Okay, so we've got that. Here are our 2 side-by-side layouts. So to secure these down, I know that that quadrant is not going to have anything in it. This quadrant, and then I'm really not sure about this one. This one's the one with all the hearts on it. But we can go ahead and just put magnets and those will not move. So I have my square pieces of the Daffodil Delight. Now, because I created a border around this layout base, these are a little bit different than the measurements in the sketchbook. But just keep in mind that if you are going to use the sketchbook as is, each piece has a measurement to it, and those are given to you in the sketchbook, or you can adapt it like I have here. Now the large heart that goes over here, it's got all of those stitch marks, much like this. The easiest way to get all of those out is to pay your daughter to do it. And so that is what she's doing right now. So until she gets finished doing that, I kind of wanted to freestyle these hearts over here on this layout and see how many I'm going to be able to put down. And 3 is a little bit too much, but I think we might be able to get it done. So I'm kind of liking that. Of course, you really don't know until you get your photos in place how it's going to look, because the photos are going to hide a lot of these hearts. Okay, so on this right layout, I'm going to have 4 photos. They're probably not going to stay 4x6, but they won't be trimmed down much because I still want to incorporate the burgers and the table, possibly the light. So of course, you know, no matter what I do, it's going to hide the majority of these hearts. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move these hearts up, and now they're going to become a bottom and a top border. And then I can kind of stagger these photos in the middle. And so you'll be able to see the hearts, but I'm not covering up any hearts, if that makes sense. Okay, so to line up my hearts, I do have my ruler up the top, and I'm going to do 1 inch. So I've got that one. I'm not actually pushing down on it quite yet. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to put this one about the same distance from the right edge. And then I'm going to come back in with this heart. And we're going to see how that looks. So even though they're touching, I'd rather them touch in the middle than be any closer to these outside edges. So I like that. Now we're going to come in and we're going to do this one. Again, 3/4 of an inch. 1 inch rather. So 1 inch. And I think I want to separate these patterns. So I'm going to come in with this one, trying to get my lines straight. I'm going to come in with this one now that we know they basically have to touch. And then we're going to come in with this one. Now this heart, if you haven't noticed, this right lobe is bigger. And so that's why I'm just trying to look at the lines and make them straight versus make the heart straight. Okay, so I'm happy enough with that. Like I said, these photos are going to hide a lot of that.
So now I can work on the left layout. Now this heart is white and it's going to get lost on this left layout. So I want to do just some stamping or some sort of mixed media behind the heart. So I've pulled out the Gears and Texture stamp set. This is the same stamp and die cut that I used for this little cute card that I posted on my social media last week. You can see all of the stamping and then those gears that rotate, and then of course the inside of the card. I will have a link to that spinners or those spinners down below if you'd like to check that out. So I'm just going to use some of the stamped images. Now I have gone ahead and I have kind of roughed where I was going to put my title and my photo. And that's going to allow me to kind of guess where I need to do my stamping. Another reason why I wanted to kind of rough this out is I need to decide what color ink I'm going to use. Now, I have the black mats, but then I also have a lot of red over here in these hearts. I have decided to use the black ink, but first I need to kind of run a pencil around the outer edges of this heart, and that's going to help me know where I should do my stamping. As long as I'm keeping that stamping on the outside of these pencil marks, then we should be good. And of course, I can always come back and fill in any of the larger images as well as the smaller ones.
So I have this one. Just going to kind of keep it over here. And then I'm also going to repeat it down here. And then I have several other images. I'm going to kind of do some overlapping stamping. Now, if you're wondering, does every layout have to have splatter? That is just your preference. Since this is my layout, I think that it does. It's just something I love doing. It's kind of my style, so to speak. So, to each their own, and definitely just kind of make it how you want. So let's take this and kind of put it right there. See what's going to show and what's not. So I see that one's not going to show. So I'm just going to restamp that a little bit higher. Yeah. So I also added some 3D foam tape that's also going to create separation between this white heart and that white layout base. A quick little tip is I like to use a lot of foam tape, a lot. But just keep in mind that you do not have to take the backing off of these middle pieces. These are big, so it really doesn't matter. But if you were using little small pieces, you can leave the backing on those. And it fits perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to have this. This is not straight. This is kind of catty corner, which is fine because I'm going to have my photo kind of going off the edge right here. And then, of course, I'm going to build my title over here. Okay, so I have stamped this cute little French fry and this seagull. And then I've gone ahead and I've adhered these down, and I've adhered this photo as well as the word love. I'm just going to show you how this We and Freddy's works out. Because I backed this with adhesive sheets, this just becomes a sticker. So you just take your pick tool or your paper piercer and you just peel that backing off of there, and you have a sticker. I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. So we love, and then I'll do the same thing with the word Freddy's. And then also you might notice the little doodle X's. Those are cut using the Endless Love die cuts as well. You know, they're meant for hugs and kisses. But I've been liking using them as little doodle stitch lines. So I'm going to adhere those down as well. I've got everything adhered down. I have this hole in these tags, so I am actually going to tie a bow, and I am using the, what is this, weave, a regular weave trim. It's kind of got a crumb cake feel to it. And then I'm also going to use some of this tiny, tiny Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to double these. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. Tiny little bow.
Don't forget to check out all of our sketchbooks. Again, I am using volume 3. Now, it does say 6x6 papers, but you can see here you can cut your 12x12, 6x8s like we discussed to all of the various measurements and then build your layout.
And I'm going to put these, I went ahead and put some adhesive dimensionals. You can see where I originally stamped it, but because I was going to layer it, the French fries needed to be down lower. And then we're going to get a glue dot to glue that bow on. Now, part of me was thinking, okay, well, I've got some stamping on this side as far as the seagull, the French fries, the sentiments. I need it on this side too. But I don't think that that is necessary because of kind of the wonkiness of this layout, if you will. I am going to find somewhere to also have some ribbon over here. I do think that that's important to bring over to this other side. I am going to finish off the stamping down here, kind of overlapping some of this black ink. Now, this is from the Endless Love Stamp Set. There are actually two. There's this grouping of hearts, and then there's a single heart. So I pulled both of them to see whatever I can do. You can see I stamped over here. I just stamped these corners instead of trying to do behind here, you know, because I kind of forgot. I may do that. And let's come in with this single heart. Let's put one right there. And I think this is pretty much going to be it. It's probably too much. I shouldn't have done those two, but oh well. Okay, the more and more I looked at this, I wanted to make some changes. So that heart right there, I'm actually going to cover with these hearts. And then I'm going to cut some journaling strips, and I'm going to put them down here, or up here and down here and right here. And we'll see how that looks here in just a second. Okay, so I added my journaling strips. You can see there, I like that much better. You can still see the hearts behind here, but I think it's perfectly okay. It just kind of cuts down on all of that stamping. And then, of course, I added these over here, which took care of the hearts that really just had nothing. They were just sticking out there. I did contemplate doodling around this edge. I just feel like these two pieces just kind of get lost. But after adding the journaling strips that are matted with the black cardstock, I feel like it did a whole lot better. So we've got our stamping, the two colors. We've got our big focal piece like in the sketch. And then over here we have the repetitive shapes. So, you know, even though there's 9 on here, I was able to adapt that to my photos. And then you can see here, I also kind of did what I wanted on the photos as well. I wanted more of the heart to show, so I didn't include a second photo. In fact, I did all of my title right here instead of doing a subtitle down here. And then, of course, I have the journaling strips instead of the 2 3x4 journalings. But that is that. I will leave links down below to all of the products that I used if they are still available, as well as a link to that video on the ribbon guides. You'll also find a playlist for the creative design team. You can click that link and watch all of the videos. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend.